Have you ever wondered how these tiny, almost invisible changes can somehow lead to absolutely life-changing results? Well, today, we're going to dive into the core ideas from James Clear's fantastic book, Atomic Habits, to figure out exactly how that works.
Look, we've all been there, right? You start a new diet, a new workout plan, a new project. You're full of motivation. And then, a few weeks later, you're right back where you started. It's so frustrating. So why is it so incredibly hard to make good habits stick and to break the bad ones? The answer is probably not what you think.
So, let's kick things off with one of the most amazing turnaround stories in the history of sports. It's a story that perfectly explains our first big idea, the incredible power of just getting 1% better.
For about a century, professional cycling in Great Britain was, well, it was kind of a joke. I mean, they'd only won a single Olympic gold medal in their entire history since 1908. Their performance was so bad that one of the top bike manufacturers actually refused to sell bikes to the team because they were afraid it would hurt their brand. Ouch.
But then in 2003, everything changed. They hired a new performance director, a guy named Dave Brailsford. And he brought in this philosophy he called the aggregation of marginal gains. Now, the idea was actually super simple. Break down every single thing you could think of that goes into riding a bike, and then just improve each little piece by 1%. And when I say everything, I mean everything. They started with the obvious stuff, making the bike seats more comfortable, rubbing alcohol on the tires for a little better grip, testing different fabrics in a wind tunnel. But then they got obsessive. They hired a surgeon to teach the riders the right way to wash their hands so they wouldn't get sick. They tested different massage gels. They even figured out the perfect pillow and mattress for each individual rider to get the best possible sleep. And get this, they painted the inside of the team truck white just so they could spot tiny bits of dust that might mess with the bike mechanics. Now, by themselves, any of these changes seem tiny, almost pointless, right? But when you add them all up, the results were absolutely staggering. In just one decade, from 2007 to 2017, British cyclists won an unbelievable 178 world championships. They took home 5 Tour de France titles and just completely dominated at the Olympics. This wasn't luck. This was a system.
So how in the world does this happen? How do these tiny little improvements snowball into such massive results? Well, it all comes down to one of the most powerful forces in the universe: compounding. The math on this is actually kind of mind-blowing. If you can manage to get just 1% better at something every single day, by the end of the year, you'll be nearly 38 times better than when you started. But look at the flip side. If you get 1% worse each day, you basically decline down to 0. So your small daily choices, they don't just add up, they compound. The best way to think about it is right here. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. It's just like how money multiplies with compound interest. The effects of your habits multiply every time you repeat them. One single workout isn't going to change your physique, but a year of them? Oh yeah, that absolutely will.
Okay, but this brings up a really important question. If this compounding effect is so powerful, why do we give up so easily? Why does it feel like all our hard work isn't doing anything in the beginning? And this chart explains it perfectly. We expect our progress to be a straight line, just steadily going up. But in the real world, the biggest outcomes are always delayed. There's this gap, what James Clear calls the valley of disappointment. It's that period where you're putting in the work, you're being consistent, but the results just haven't shown up yet. And this is where most people quit, right before they're about to have that big breakthrough. So that brings us to our next big idea. And this one might challenge something you've been told your whole life. We're always told the key to success is setting big, ambitious goals. But what if focusing on goals is actually the thing holding us back?
So first, let's get our terms straight. A goal, that's the result you want to get. For a coach, the goal is winning the championship. A system, though, that's the process that gets you there. It's the daily practice, the recruiting, how you watch game film. The goal gives you your direction, sure, but it's the system that actually gets you there.
And focusing only on goals can cause some real problems. For one, winners and losers. They often have the exact same goals. Every Olympian wants a gold medal. Also, hitting a goal is just a temporary fix. Think about it. Cleaning your messy room gets it clean for a moment, but it doesn't fix the messy habits that got it that way in the first place. Goals can also make you put off happiness until you hit some milestone. And then, what happens after you achieve it? Where's the motivation then?
This right here might be the single most important quote in the entire book. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. It's not about how ambitious you are, it's about how good your daily processes are. Your system is what catches you.
Okay, so we've talked about the power of 1% and why you need systems, not just goals. But there's one more layer to all of this. It's the deepest and honestly the most powerful layer of all, and that is your identity.
So Clear lays out behavior change like it's an onion with 3 layers. On the outside, you've got changing your outcomes, things like losing weight. The middle layer is changing your processes. That's your workout routine. But the core, the very center, is changing your identity, what you believe about yourself. Here's the thing. Real, lasting change has to start from the inside and work its way out, not the other way around. Here's a really simple way to frame it. The goal isn't just to read a book. The goal is to become a reader. The goal isn't just to run a marathon. It's to become a runner. See the difference? When your actions and your identity are in perfect sync, you're not even trying to change anymore. You're just being who you are. This is my absolute favorite example because it's just so simple and so powerful. Imagine 2 people are offered a cigarette. The first person says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." This person still sees themselves as a smoker who is resisting. The second person says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." It's such a tiny change in language, but it shows a monumental shift in identity. One person is fighting an old identity, the other is living a new one. And this is the bottom line. Any behavior that doesn't align with your deep down self-image will not last. It just won't. If you set a new goal but you haven't changed your fundamental beliefs about who you are, that old identity will always find a way to drag you back to your old habits. Which leaves us with the ultimate question. Instead of asking yourself, what do I want to achieve? A much, much more powerful question is, who do I wish to become? Because every single action you take is like casting a vote for the type of person you want to be. So, what kind of person are your actions voting for today?